The Fox City SCORE chapter and WHBY are pleased to bring you Biz Talk, a chance for you to hear from entrepreneurs and professionals as they share their experiences from starting to sustaining growth. Learn the skills needed for your business to be successful. If you missed anything, you can catch the Biz Talk podcast at biztalkwithscore.com. And now from the Myron Construction Studio, it's Biz Talk on WHBY.
Good morning, and I hope everybody is having a great Saturday morning as we approach Christmas. My name is Terry Pinch, and I'm one of the co-hosts this week, a SCORE mentor, and we'll be talking more about SCORE later in the show. But joining me this week as co-host is Mary Rhode. And how are you, Mary?
I'm doing great, Terry. Happy Saturday to you as well.
Thank you. So our guest this week is someone well known in the New North. It's an organization that has made a lot of difference to this area and the perception of this area, both inside and outside, as a place to do business. And it's great to see, and we're going to learn more about that. So I'd like to introduce Barb LaMue and welcome her to the show. Welcome, Barb.
Thank you so much, Terry. Thank you.
Okay. So, Barb, can you tell us a little bit about what is New North first?
Yes, certainly, Terry. New North is an 18-county economic development corporation. We are a foundation. We are a 501c3, and we were formed in 2005, so we're coming up on 20 years next year. And we were formed by CEOs across the region that wanted to create an organization that would take a little broader approach as to how we address talent needs and talent recruitment in the region, and how we bring more business investment into Northeast Wisconsin.
Okay. And over that 20 years, how has the role of the organization changed, or is it pretty similar?
No, I think it has. Our core mission has not changed. We're very much rooted in business investment and talent development. That's at the core of everything that we do. I think the method upon which we go about executing has changed over the years. By way of example, I think just coming off of COVID, we knew we needed to do additional outreach to our local partners to keep everyone informed of what was happening, what grants might be available for them. We support our local partners in various ways, and even our small businesses that we knew were incredibly challenged. So we stood up some programs very, very quickly to assist. And things that we got much more involved in after the fact too, such as broadband. A large part of our plan of work does include helping to bring in broadband investment dollars into the region. So it addresses where people are working remote, or businesses that don't have a connectivity, or schools, students, how they learn. That was really accelerated coming out of COVID.
So, Barb, with such a large footprint, 18 counties, that's a huge, huge area. Talk a little bit about your team, your support system there at New North, all the wonderful people beneath you, and all the different areas of focus for them, and how you really capture the needs of your target audience within that 18-county region.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. So we have a very, very small team. There's a total of 7 of us full-time. And the reason we're allowed to produce the level of activity that we do is because of our strong relationship that we have with our local chambers, our county and city economic development organizations, our workforce development boards, our regional planning commissions. So while New North may often initiate an activity or a strategy, we're bringing in our local partners to help in the execution at the local level, which has certainly allowed us to be able to scale programs much more quickly and broadly than if it was just the 7 of us. I have a dynamic team. I am so incredibly proud of our New North work family. It's a brand new team, different than what we had when I first started. I have a vice president of business development, Barbara Koldos. I have a vice president of talent development, and that's Rebecca Deshane. My administrative assistant is Lori LaPratt. We have a VP of marketing and investor relations, Renee Torzala. We have a vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's Juan Corpus. We have an industry director, which is Jason Mathwick, and he oversees the New Construction Alliance and the New Digital Alliance. I think I caught all 6 of my team. And so, we really looked at our plan of work going back to what it is we were created to do. And I wanted to make sure that we had the right talent that were laser focused on their their particular components to execute on our plan of work. So great team, Mary. Thank you for the question.
Okay. So when the organization started, it was meant to be a collaborative organization between private and public sector. You had all the private sector people pulled in, or many of them for the region. How did you get the public sector involved and join in with you and do that collaboration?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, it's true, Terry. We were created by the private sector. So even today, we are a private foundation. We do not receive city and county funding. And that's by design. We want to make sure that we stay very focused in the private sector. We have a private board of directors. However, we feel it's important that we are addressing community needs. That's a path upon which we get to business development or talent development. So we have a great working relationship with our county administrators, by way of example, with our local mayors. I think where there's more alliances in our day-to-day work, it relates to the area of our local partners. So going back to our county economic development organizations, our city staff, they by and large are funded by the municipalities upon which they serve. So we make sure that they're brought into our conversations. So what we're doing will ultimately help. My local partners hear this all the time from me. You cannot have a strong region without strong local partners. So it is critical that we support their efforts as well.
Okay. And when you look around the region and look at all the changes that have happened, and I'm someone who came in from the outside, lived here a few years in the early 90s, moved back in 2003. Even then, the change was phenomenal in that time. But from 2003 to 20 years later, it's really incredible in terms of the business change as well as the community and environmental change. When you look at that, what are some of the things for you that stand out as, hey, New North, we didn't do it all, but we were able to pull people together to help move some of these things forward?
Yeah, thank you, Terry. I think it would be the way in which we go about site selection. We receive a request for information or proposals coming direct from a site consultant, someone that's hired by a corporation to determine where they want to put their next plant or their next corporate office. Oftentimes these RFIs, we call them, come to us by WEDC, Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. And so we do have an annual contract with WEDC as a key strategic partner, and is to do things that they don't have staff readily available to do. So they use the regions in that regard. So by way of example, we just got one this morning, and it's a client that is seeking an 85,000 square foot facility on a certain number of acres, and there's criteria of the type of location, their requirements, the building specs. And then it is our job to make sure we're checking our inventory. We're reaching out to our local partners. We're reaching out to our real estate, our broker community, and that we're packaging up the response. Frequently, when it gets down to 2-3 sites, and the company or their real estate broker says we're coming to the region, we're flying in, we want to visit the sites and, gather more information, we will broker that. So we will make sure that if it's an existing building that is for sale or lease, the listing agent is a part of all of those conversations. We will then bring in our municipalities, because oftentimes the conversation gets down to the level of, is TIF funding available? Is it in an opportunity zone? What type of incentives might be available? And we know those are things that New North, we do not have a legislative charge to control tax incremental financing. That's done at the local level. So I think we've seen great traction with that particular model. I think our collaboration, maybe because, I don't know, my first role in economic development was a chamber president. So I truly value our local partners, and I approach every deal that way, bringing them in when we can. We know we operate under non-disclosures a lot, but when we can, we share whatever we can with them. I think that really was telling, Terry. We went through an international accreditation, and we just received that this last August. They brought 3 site reviewers from across the country to our region, and we had several meetings and engagements, and this was after submitting a lot of documentation to them for the initial review. And we did pass that. So we are one of 83 organizations in the country, and the only one currently in Wisconsin that holds this international accreditation. And what was really interesting and a proud moment for me was where they talked about this collaboration. It was really evident. They said a lot of organizations will say that in their application, but when we came here, we could feel it with our interviews, that people feel engaged, they feel wanted, they feel involved. And, that's why we were created to begin with.
Okay. So as you look at the opportunity with bringing in companies from outside the region and even internationally, how important is the infrastructure in this area to doing that? The port and the railroads and airports and things like that.
It's huge. That usually shows up on every single RFI request that we complete. They want to know the regional airports. They want to know international airports. They want to know connecting flights, especially if this is an international client. They want to know broadband availability, fiber optics in the region, availability of land, availability of buildings. Most often there's a huge section on talent development. They want to know, based on the industry codes of which they'll be hiring, what type of training programs do we have for this particular industry? And that's all part, we feel, as a part of our infrastructure. Very often, they want to be located relatively close to a 4-lane highway, or we need to identify how many miles off of a 4-lane highway is the site of land that we would like them to take a look at. So infrastructure is very, very important.
Okay. So we're at the point where we should take our first break. You're listening to Biz Talk with SCORE on WHBY, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Biz Talk with SCORE. We're talking this week with Barb LaMue from the New North, and we'll get back to Barb in a few minutes. But first, Mary's going to provide a SCORE overview. Mary?
Yeah, thanks, Terry. As you mentioned, before we continue our conversation with President and CEO of New North, Barb LaMue, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about SCORE Northeast Wisconsin. SCORE Northeast Wisconsin serves an 18-county area in Northeast Wisconsin, plus the county of Menominee in Michigan. We have over 50 volunteers, each an expert in their field, offering entrepreneurs no-cost and confidential mentoring. Those areas of expertise include IT, social media, marketing, cash flow, accounting, strategic planning, workflow, HR, retail, best practices, and many, many others. In order to register for a no-cost confidential mentoring session, and or learn more about SCORE Northeast Wisconsin, score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. You can learn more about how the SCORE chapter can assist you with starting and or growing your business, and you can complete an application for a mentoring session. Simply complete the online form and submit it to SCORE. Within a few days, a SCORE mentor will contact you to set up a meeting. Remember, SCORE is no cost and offers experts who can offer you assistance in many different areas. To get started, visit our website at score.org/Northeast Wisconsin. To support small business people, SCORE Northeast Wisconsin is always looking for new mentors. If you have experience that you would like to share with others, we'd love to talk to you. We welcome volunteers with experience in all aspects of business. Small business owners need your help, and your experience can make a real difference in their success. Go to score.org/Northeast Wisconsin, click on the volunteer button, and fill out the short application. And we will get back to you to explain more. Thanks again for joining us on Biz Talk. And now, Terry, back to you and our conversation with Barb LaMue.
Okay. And Barb, we wanted to touch on the 4 impact pillars that New North is planning around. Could we talk about those a little bit? Let's start with the business development strategy.
Yeah, thank you so much, Terry. So this is really at the heart of what it is that we do, and it's working hard to bring in additional investment into the region. And that comes to us, I describe the 3-legged stool. One would be how we first and foremost support the companies that are here with their growth plans, their expansion plans. Number 2, how we work to recruit new companies to the region. And that can be domestic and international. That also includes foreign direct investment. So it could be the company is still continuing to operate as they do today, but we have additional investment dollars that are coming to help with the expansion plans. And the 3rd leg of that stool is how we support startups, working with new companies. Right before this call, Terry, I was working on our regional pitch event, where we're going to be highlighting entrepreneurs, 12 founders that came out of our local contests. And that'll be hosted at Titletown Tech. And we daily receive requests for information on how to match mentors and things like that. So I think your SCORE chapter, thank you for that. The SCORE volunteers are certainly very much a part in how we build that entrepreneurial ecosystem. I earlier talked about our role in site searches, finding them available property, land and buildings for a project. We also created the Gold Shovel certification. And this, we know time is money for a developer. They want to be able to start their project as soon as they can get their financing ready to go. But they also want to make sure that they're going to a part of our region in which the land is zoned appropriately. It's under a pretty straightforward ownership structure. The ultra survey or geotechnical survey has been done. How close are fiber optics to the site? Those are things that we do with our municipalities to get them ready, and we get them Gold Shovel certified. So it's much easier than when that deal comes that we can get to ground quicker, as we would like to say. I briefly mentioned our work with our entrepreneurs. We do that through our new Launch Alliance. It is a group of about 100 volunteers that join. These are mentors. These are service providers. We have entrepreneurs that will tell his or her story, and more importantly, where they need help. And then, it's our role to try and matchmake the resources that they need to get established. We are working on a new project right now, and it's really identifying a unique program that will be the same no matter if you're in New North or if you're in the M7 region, which is south of Sheboygan is in New North, but south of Sheboygan County is the Milwaukee region, Milwaukee M7, and then the Madison region, which is built around Dane County in south central Wisconsin. So we're working on identifying robust programs for high-tech, high-growth entrepreneurs and how we can all be doing that the same, so that if an entrepreneur starts in Middleton and relocates to Oshkosh or ends up in Germantown, they're not starting over from scratch, that it's kind of a plug and play to support that entrepreneur with their needs. We're going to be debuting, we're doing an event in relationship to the draft with Titletown Tech. This will be during draft week, and the audience will be the national media that will be in town for the draft. And we will be highlighting 15 entrepreneurs, 5 from each of our 3 regions, high-tech, high-growth companies, so they can share their story. And we hope it gets, picked up again by the national media that is here. We also know on the business front, companies came to us and just said, they really were starting their sustainability journey, their ESG journey, and asked if we could help with that. We're not consultants by any means in this space, but we did put on our first ESG summit at Lawrence University, and we had corporations in Northeast that have been very successful for quite some time and have had very successful ESG programs, and they shared. So we kind of wanted to highlight the best of class so other companies could learn from that. We also have what we call Global New North, and often WEDC will take trade ventures or trade missions. One, they just announced they'll be going to Germany. We work with our existing companies to encourage them to participate, and there's some things that they can do to prepare without even ever going to Germany if they want to look at how they increase their exports. So there's a ton of resources available to help the companies through Global New North. As far as investment attraction is concerned, I touched on this a little bit earlier. Barbara Koldos routinely will travel. She just, I guess it was last March. Time flies. She was in Germany, and she also was in Lucca, Italy. That was a more recent trip in October. And in Lucca, it is an international paper and paper converting trade show. And we have the highest concentration of paper converters than anywhere in the whole country, the United States. It's in our region. So she was there to represent New North. She met with a lot of companies that are in this industry that may be looking to source a part of their production with companies that we have here in our region and things like that. So we're real busy internationally as well.
Okay, great. That's brings us right to the time for our next break. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY, and we will be right back.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Biz Talk with Score here on WHBY. My name is Mary Rhode, and co-hosting with me today is Terry Pinch. And we have the pleasure of speaking with Barb LaMue, President and CEO of New North. In our previous segment, we touched a little bit on the beginning of, or the first of New North's 4 impact pillars. And we're going to use some time here in this segment to continue that discussion. And let's start with the talent development strategy pillar. Knowing that certainly retaining, recruiting talent to this area is crucially important for businesses of all sizes. So do you want to talk a little bit about New North's role with talent development, talent recruitment? And we'll use that as a segue into talking about a very large, probably the largest event that our community here in Green Bay will ever host, and that is the NFL Draft coming up in April of 2025.
Thank you, Mary. Yes, our talent development strategy was created so that we could have a roadmap on how we attract, retain, and develop talent in Northeast Wisconsin. And so to that particular end, I do clearly want to mention our strong relationship that we have with our higher education organizations. New Era is one of those, and that is comprised of UW Green Bay, UW Oshkosh, NWTC, Lakeshore College, College of Menominee Nation, Fox Valley Technical College, and Moraine Technical College Park. In addition, we have our private colleges such as Lawrence University, St. Norbert College, and Lakeland University. And so we realized that as an individual in our community, we're a population of 1.3 million people. As they navigate, high school, and they decide which track that they want to go, we want to make sure that we provide enough information to make those decisions and to connect them with employers. So to that end, we took on the development of career pathways. We have those developed in manufacturing and business and IT and financial services, and there's 7 or 8 pathways that are used in high school through technical colleges, and beyond. The new Construction Alliance and the new Digital Alliance, I mentioned that Jason Mathwake oversees, and that was really to make sure we had an increased interest in the trades. And we can recruit people that want to get in that industry to support our construction companies and related organizations, as well as attracting new talent, IT talent. And we hear, all the time about cybersecurity and AI. So the new Digital Alliance is really in the forefront of those types of conversations and training. We did something rather unique that was coming out of the recession, the COVID pandemic. And we realized we had a lot of people in our region that were, maybe they didn't have continuing education. They were in lifestyle industries, and those were the first to be impacted when restaurants shut down, hotels shut down, people couldn't travel. And so we worked with Generator on establishing what's called the Generator Skills Accelerator. And working with Microsoft, we were able to, through Generator, create platforms where we could take people through free training that Microsoft provided. This was online, but we realized with the populations we were trying to serve, we needed to do more than just provide them a link and just say, go learn. So they were provided with concierge services, employer swarms. The ultimate goal was at the end of each training session to get them gainfully employed. And that has been a huge program, very, very successful for our region. We then more recently took it one step further, and we realized we had people sitting on the sidelines. They wanted to work, but they were lacking digital skills. So in today's work environment, oftentimes you need to submit an application online. You need to create a PDF. They look at your LinkedIn profile. There are things that maybe we might take for granted, but other people that are lacking digital skills don't even know where to begin. So in working with the Workforce Development Board, Bay Area Workforce Development Board, and a lot of our other service providers, we created what was called the new Boost for Hidden Talent. Abaxant, African Heritage, very involved. And so there are a lot of free resources. We were able to package them all up. It's on our website, Boost for Hidden Talent. And then again, we did receive a grant, so we were able to help provide stipend payments to volunteers, many of them retired teachers, that would physically go to centers where they had computer labs. So individuals might be going there anyway. Maybe they're learning English as a second language. And so while they were there, our volunteers would coach them on using these digital tools to hopefully get them gainfully employed. When it comes to talent attraction, we have a program called New North Hires Heroes. And so our team will physically go to military bases, and we will meet with men and women who have made the decision to get out of the military. We oftentimes take employers with us, and we talk to them about jobs, opportunities that we have here. Once they said, yep, this is where I want to go, and there's a job lined up for them, we involve our local chambers that oftentimes have a lot more information than we would on schools and housing and neighborhoods and all the other things to make sure that that family, once they get here, they are well ingrained and they're welcomed. We also we work with Inspire. That's a platform that the majority of our schools, we have 93 school districts in the New North region. So they have the platform, and it's a free resource for our businesses to be able to upload their profile. And working through this platform, they can offer to do tours, internships, come to classrooms, share the information about what is happening with our existing employers, with the ultimate goal that we can retain our students, and they're not leaving to find other employment when we have well-paying jobs right here. I will say too, we did create diversity, equity, inclusion. We have a work stream in that, and it is a pillar of ours. And that was really to improve our retention rate on diverse talent. This came to us by employers who said they work really, really hard to recruit diverse talent, but just demographically, we don't have a large population of diverse individuals. And so in people that came here maybe didn't feel as connected as they could have been. So Juan Corpus, our VP of DEI, is working with our existing employers on resource groups. We were part of creating Widen.biz, which is a platform for diverse women-owned and veteran-owned businesses to upload their information so we could help move them to opportunities in their particular businesses. We also got involved in Forward 48, which is a program where it's for emerging diverse leaders. And we do this with the Madison region and the Milwaukee region so that people build wider and deeper networks with the ultimate goal that they stay once they come to our particular region. We package up a lot of things in our last pillar, which is our branding and marketing strategy. We are launching the livability publication this year, and that you'll see, they get a lot of press on like the best city, the best village. There's certain things that rank. So the publication will be done in time for the draft. There'll also be a digital version of it. We really want to highlight each one of our 18 counties and the great things that are happening in Northeast Wisconsin. We created a lot of campaigns. One of those is our More You in New campaign. There's more of you if you come here in New, Northeast Wisconsin. And so we highlight individuals that didn't have ties to the region until the job that they were recruited for. So they share their story. And we feel it's always better to let someone else tell our story. It means more coming from a third party than New North, as part of a marketing agency. Of course, we're going to say really good things about our region, but this is validated in the people that are part of the campaign. We then launched a Cool Stuff campaign. There's so many cool, innovative things that are engineered, manufactured in Northeast Wisconsin. So we wanted to highlight those. And then I already talked about our New North Hires Heroes campaign. The last campaign that we just launched was Find Your True North. And in our research for talent attraction, especially the younger generation, it's all about experiences. So they know with the tight labor market, they can probably just move to a city or a community and they're going to get a job. They want to go to a community where they can experience life. So we are primed for that, with over 400 miles of Lake Michigan shoreline, the lakes, the streams, the hiking, the kayaking, the rock climbing, all of those that are really attractive to a younger generation. And so our Find Your True North campaign highlights kind of that quality of life, quality of place thing that we are using to help market people to our region. And then our last campaign, and I'll end the marketing component with this one, is we really understand the value of higher education. When you have a very tight labor market, it's very common where people are recruited right out of high school to work for our existing employers, and that's not a bad thing. We just want to make sure that it's balanced, that the parents, our students, community members understand the value of higher education, and that it's really lifelong learning. You're going to flow in and out of that throughout your whole career. And that we have organizations here in Northeast Wisconsin that are very, very adaptable and well suited to make it a seamless transition. So I will stop there on our pillars.
Wow. I think it's a good way to wrap that up. There's just so much that your tremendous team of 7 is doing every single day to impact this entire region. And as we shift to talk now about a massive event happening next April, the NFL draft coming to Green Bay, the eyes of the entire world are going to be on this region, the community, the city of Green Bay. And I would hope, I'm sure your team sees it as a prime opportunity to really go full in with your 4 impact pillars. There's some great synergy, between the efforts of those pillars, and the, 250,000+ people that are going to be, in this region, for the length of the draft. How is your team kind of ramping up and getting ready to either enact things you're already doing or new events, as you previously mentioned, that you'll be doing at Titletown Tech? How is everyone holding up and getting ready for April of next year for the NFL draft?
Yeah, thank you, Mary. First we know, yes, this is a huge event and we want to be as helpful as possible. So we often are in step with whatever the Packers say they need our help with. The Green Bay Packers obviously has the direct line to the NFL draft staff that routinely now more frequently are coming to the region. So we really take the direction from the Packers on how they feel we can best support their efforts. One of those that occurred earlier this year was really getting diverse businesses to upload their information into an NFL draft platform for suppliers. So we were part of the team that helped to stand up supplier diversity work sessions, not only here in Green Bay, but Madison and Milwaukee, to get businesses ready because they do need to be certified to get a contract with the NFL for the draft. And so that was earlier in the May-June timeline. We're very pleased that the NFL is working through that process right now and having these conversations with the companies that have uploaded their information. But that's their decision. We're not involved beyond, what we did to stand up the supplier diversity training sessions. We then, next week, it is the business of the draft. So with helping the Packers, we're doing community tours. There'll be one, in Green Bay. There'll be one in Eau Claire. There will be one in, Madison, one in Milwaukee, and then wrapping it up, coming up through Neenah. And it's the intended audience. It's our local partners. It's the convention and visitors bureaus. It's the municipalities to talk about how can we get prepared as best we can for this influx of visitors. We know it's going to be April. There probably won't be a lot of flowers blooming at that time, but there are some things that we can do. Barbara Koldos and I, along with many people from the community, went to Detroit so we could take in the last draft and learn. They were incredibly gracious with their time. So we want to share that information with our local communities to better get prepared. And then as we move towards the actual draft week, I already talked about, our innovation triangle and highlighting high-tech, high-growth entrepreneurs. We are also coordinating an event with our regional partners across the state for familiarization tours that will occur. At this point, it's slated to be the Wednesday, so the day before the draft, where site selectors will come in all across Wisconsin, and they will see development opportunities. And then those site selectors with our regional partners will come over to Green Bay, Door County, spend some time, be part of the whole draft environment. So they walk away with, or fly away, they'll be more than likely, they will be flying in, with a better understanding of what the whole state of Wisconsin has to offer, and then really targeting in on Northeast for the actual draft. And then the Friday of the draft, we've told all of our team to just think creatively about your circles of influence and whom you might want to invite for that. I talked about Forward 48, and that's our emerging diverse leadership program that we do with Madison area and the Milwaukee region. And several cohorts have gone through the program. Can we use that Friday to have a Forward 48 alumni event where they're coming in and they're doing their continued networking, but also using the draft to say they've experienced that. So I know on Broadway and downtown Green Bay, there's tons of events that are happening. We're hearing events in Shawano and Pulaski and Appleton and Eau Claire, and which is great. We want every community to really make this their own as best they can, and to welcome this influx of visitors to the state of Wisconsin.
Okay, we're at the time for our third break. Thank you for all that information on the NFL draft. It's one of the most talked about events in the area, and it's great to hear all the great good things that are happening. So we will be right back after this break. You're listening to Biz Talk with Score on WHBY. I would like to thank the sponsors and donors who bring Biz Talk with Score to you each weekend. We couldn't present Biz Talk without their generous support. Thank you to Hailing & Associates. Hailing & Associates helps small businesses and individuals not just prepare tax returns, but plan ahead, helping you to minimize taxes for this year and beyond. Hailing & Associates, personal connection, positive results. A special thank you to the Business News for promoting our program in the biweekly business newspaper serving Northeast Wisconsin. If you don't already subscribe to the Business News, you should. The paper is delivered biweekly and contains relevant and useful information about the business community in Northeast Wisconsin. We would also like to recognize the David L. and Rita E. Nelson Fund within the Community Foundation for the Fox Valley region for their generous donation in support of Biz Talk and Score Northeast Wisconsin. So thank you to our sponsors. And with that, we'll turn back to Barb. And Barb, could you let our listeners know how they can contact New North to get assistance or learn more about the programs?
Yeah, thank you so much, Terry. Everything that I shared through the broadcast show is available on our website. Our site is thenewnorth.com. And you'll see the talent development pillar, the business development, diversity, equity, inclusion, branding and marketing. We have tons of research in our Intel tracker that's available, for our citizens, our businesses to use, our local partners to use. So everything is located there. They can certainly reach out to me, any of my staff, or any, details or follow up. We also do 2 reports a year to our stakeholders, our mid-year report and our annual report. And these come inside the Insight on Business publication in July and in January. And we summarize, and it's really a tribute to everyone working very collectively and collaboratively to grow Northeast Wisconsin. So besides the 2 reports, we as well do a New North News every day. Wednesday is our nod to entrepreneurs, but it's a collection of news across our region. We try and keep it to 8 to 12 stories every day that people have found incredibly helpful. And then annually, we have our New North Summit. This coming year, it will be June 5th at Lambeau Field. And our theme is going to be rooted in resiliency. We felt it was appropriate because of New North going into our 20th anniversary. It'll also be a nod to the organizations and the businesses that have really reinvented themselves it's a tribute to our businesses and our communities. So it's a great celebration. We start at 7:30 in the morning. We wrap up with the programming about 2:30 in the afternoon, and then we have a very nice reception up at Lambeau. So stay tuned for more information coming out on our New North Summit.
Okay. And Barb, we'd like to thank you for being on the show, and thank you for all you've done for this region, because there's one thing we can all guarantee or that we've seen is the New North has made a phenomenal difference to work and community in this area. And so we really appreciate all that you people in the organization have done.
Thank you, Terry. I will share that with the team.
Okay. And for listeners, you can catch all our previous podcasts or our last 6 years of previous podcasts on our website, biztalkwithscore.com. This podcast will be out there a week from or on the following Wednesday. So go ahead and take another listen if you want to hear it again. We appreciate everybody. Thank you for participating, and we'll talk to everybody next week.